Okay, let's dive right in. Have you ever listened to old school hip hop and noticed certain words and phrases popping up over and over again? Slang that feels, I don't know, heavier, almost like a secret code. Well, today we're going to crack that code and uncover the hidden origin story behind some of hip hop's most iconic language.
You've definitely heard this classic line from Nas, right? Off his masterpiece album, Illmatic. But what is he actually talking about? What in the world is a 5%er? It's one of those lines you hear a million times, but very few people really stop and think about what it means.
And then you've got the Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, these guys built an entire lyrical empire around this kind of talk. Phrases like peace to the gods and the earths and word is bond are just all over their music. But here's the thing. This isn't just some cool slang they made up.
Turns out this is a whole coded language. And once you get the key, I promise, you're going to start hearing decades of hip-hop in a completely new and honestly, a much deeper way. It's like finding a secret level in a video game you've been playing your whole life.
So where does it all come from? The source is a movement that was born on the streets of Harlem, New York, way back in the 1960s. They called themselves the Nation of Gods and Earths, but you probably know them by their more common name, the 5%ers.
All right, so the big question is, why that name? 5%ers? Well, it comes straight from their central belief about how all of humanity is divided up.
Okay, so here's how they see the world. They believe that 85% of the population is just lost, living in ignorance, mentally blind, and death. Then you've got the 10%. These are the elites who know the truth, but they use it to manipulate and control the 85%. And that leaves the last 5%, the enlightened few, the poor righteous teachers, whose divine mission is to wake everybody else up.
And when you see it laid out like this, it really clicks, right? This isn't just some random breakdown. This is the entire philosophical framework for their mission. They see themselves as liberators, people with a sacred duty to go out and educate that massive 85%.
But a movement this powerful doesn't just appear out of thin air. No way. It's actually the direct descendant of this long, powerful line of Black intellectual, political, and spiritual thought that really shaped the entire 20th century.
You can literally draw a line from Marcus Garvey's Black liberation ideas and the Moorish Science Temple right through the well-known Nation of Islam. And it was from the Nation of Islam that a man named Clarence 13X broke away in 1964, founding the Nation of Gods and Earths as its own unique culture and philosophy.
Okay, let's get into their core beliefs, because this is where that secret language of hip-hop really comes from. It's all built on these incredible, unique spiritual systems. Now, the most central, and you could say the most radical idea, is their complete rejection of what they call a spook god. Some unseen, mysterious deity up in the sky. Instead, they teach that the black man is God, right here, right now, on earth, in the flesh. This idea is the key to absolutely everything.
And to unlock deeper truths about the universe, they use two main systems, the supreme mathematics and the supreme alphabet. Now, these aren't just cool-looking charts. They're actual tools for what they call doing science. By breaking down words and numbers, they believe they can find the divine meaning that's hidden in everything. So for them, the number 7 isn't just 7, it's God. The letter G isn't just a letter, it represents God.
And boom, that brings us right back around to hip-hop. This is the amazing story of how a set of very specific teachings from a pretty small group in Harlem just exploded into a global pop culture phenomenon.
So think about this. The next time you hear someone say, "What's up, G?" just remember this. While today it's often slang for gangster, its real origin in hip-hop culture is a direct nod to the NFGE belief that the black man is God. That G stands for God. But honestly, no phrase shows this connection more clearly or more powerfully than word is bond. This wasn't just made up. It was taken word for word from their sacred texts. And there it is, right from their lessons which they inherited from the Nation of Islam. So when a rapper says word is bond, it's not just a cool way of saying, hey, I'm telling the truth. It's a sacred vow. It's an affirmation that their word is their life, and it's absolutely unbreakable.
These legends, and so many others, were the architects of what people started calling God hop. They didn't just borrow a few cool words. They were deeply, deeply immersed in the culture. In a way, they were like missionaries, embedding the language and the entire worldview of the 5%ers into their music for the whole world to hear.
And look, don't just take my word for it. The Reza, the genius behind the Wu-Tang Clan, he said it himself. He knew that the philosophy of the M.G.T wasn't just some small influence on hip-hop. For a huge part of its golden age, it was its DNA.
I mean, the influence just became so massive, so baked into the culture, that kids from Minnesota to South America were saying word is bond, without ever knowing its deep spiritual roots. This coded language, made for a small group of righteous teachers in New York, became the universal sound of a generation.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other deep histories, what other secret languages and entire worldviews are hiding just under the surface of the music and movies we consume every single day? So next time you put on a classic hip-hop track, listen a little closer. You might just hear a message from the gods.